Yeah, this is a New Scientist. I bought this today. Bargain price. Essential Guide number 6, Evolution. Darwin's theory of natural selection and what it means for life. And this is how genetic inheritance works. This one's called Evolution Myths. While the basic principles of evolution is easily stated, that natural selection... I don't know what happened there, I got disconnected. That natural selection favours the retention of genetic mutations that confer fitness or a survival advantage. The details of how that works can be fiendishly complex. That, coupled with the controversy that evolution arouses in some religious circles, has led many myths and misconceptions to grow up. In this chapter, we look at some of the most prevalent and persistent. So this is a myth buster. The first one must be important. Myth evolution's outcomes are implausibly unlikely. Turn on another light. Okay. So, confronted with the marvels of the living world, it's easy to jump to the conclusion that they cannot be the result of chance alone, but in fact by harmful mutations and assembling beneficial ones. Natural selection over time produces results that appear utterly impossible at first glance. There you go, this is about discovering how miraculous nature is. The chances that life just occurred are about as unlikely as a typhoon blowing through a junkyard and constructing a Boeing 747, astronomer Chandra Wickramasinghe told a court in Arkansas. In 1981, that was hearing an objection against a mandate that schools in the state should give equal weight to evolution and creationism. His colleague Fred Hoyle made the tornado version of this claim famous, proving that even very clever people can utterly misunderstand evolution. A somewhat better analogy will be starting with 1,000,000 junkyards, painstakingly testing the wreckage left in each one after the tornado to find the most flight-worthy, making 1,000,000 exact copies of that junkyard, unleashing another 1,000,000 tornadoes, running another series of exhaustive tests, and so on, until you produce some kind of machine, no matter how crude and un-Boeing 747-like, capable of flying at least a few yards. To understand evolution, you need to appreciate three things. First, that the space of possibilities in which genetic variations take place is so vast that quadrillion to one chances actually happen all the time. Second, that while genetic mutation is a random, which mutations survive often is not. And third, that the accumulation of one beneficial mutation after another can produce amazingly complex systems. Natural selection can be seen as a kind of improbability drive that, given enough time, makes the apparently impossible extremely likely. If you pick even the simplest creatures alive today and calculate the odds of getting their genome by randomly shuffling DNA sequences, you'll find they are pretty astronomical. Even matching the sequence of the simplest virus is stupendously unlikely. Does this prove evolution is impossible? Try this. Get a pack of cards, shuffle it well, and spread it out so that you can see the sequence. Now try to generate the same sequence by shuffling another pack. Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? The universe might end before you succeed. If shuffles are truly random, the chance of generating any particular sequence of 52 cards is 1 followed by 68 zeros, and yet such an incredible, unlikely event happens each time any pack is shuffled. Fluke. If all living creatures, the pack of cards is constantly being shuffled, damage to DNA or mistakes in replicating it generate random mutations, ranging from changes in single letters to duplications or deletions of huge chunks of DNA. The vast majority will be either harmful or neutral. Only a few will be beneficial, but as the card example shows, even all beneficial mutations are highly unlikely. This doesn't mean they cannot happen. What we don't see are all the failures, the countless numbers of creatures that died in the egg or in the womb or hatched or even born with terrible defects or fell victims to predators or disease because of some weakness in the wild. Most individuals die long before they get a chance to reproduce. Yeah, it's a bit heavy, isn't it? See if you can keep up. In fact, however, the odds of a beneficial mutation occurring are higher than you might think. One recent study of the E. coli gut bacterium puts the rate as high as one beneficial mutation for every 10,000 new bacteria. Wow. That might not sound like much, but populations of sample organisms can number in the trillions, with new generations appearing every hour or less. What really matters, though, is what happens after mutations appear. That's when natural selection kicks in. Each new organism life is essentially a rigorous testing process. Those with a harmful mutation will tend to die out, while those with a beneficial mutation that gives them a competitive edge will thrive and produce more descendants. Sounds like the human race, doesn't it? This means that beneficial mutations will become more common in a population while harmful mutations disappear. This process happens over and over again. If individuals with one beneficial mutation thrive and multiply, eventually another beneficial mutation will occur in one of them. Over time, individuals with both beneficial mutations will come to dominate a population, making it likely for yet another beneficial mutation to appear in one of them. What's more, in species that can stop difference by reducing sexually, beneficial mutations that occur in separate individuals can be combined in their descendants. In this way, natural selection can create the astonishing organisms we see around us, a result of countless trillions of beneficial mutations slowly assembled over billions of years. Wow, that makes a hell of a lot of sense to me, even though I'm not a scientist and my mind's boggling. It's true that how the process got underway in the first place is still something of a mystery. We won't begin to know just how likely or unlikely the origins of life was until someone manages to get life to evolve from scratch in the lab, or discovers life that originated independently. They've got to be able to get a cell from nothing. Can't see that happening. Anyway, get life to evolve from scratch in the lab, or discovers life that originated independently, perhaps on another planet. What is clear, however, is that as soon as the first primitive entities capable of replicating themselves emerged, further evolution was inevitable. And the more evolution there is, the faster it may become. In fact, evolution might produce evolvability. For instance, as organisms evolve, systems that can cope with a wide range of environmental conditions, further evolution might become more feasible. An idea backed by recent experiments showed that evolution can be speeded by varying the environment. Such ideas remain controversial. What is indisputable is that while the end result of evolution might appear utterly impossible, once you understand the way in which natural selection can collect and distill the results of chance events, there's nothing impossible about it at all. There you go. Might read that one later. Myth Evolution is Entirely Random. Pretty cool magazine for $1.